Hey you guys, today I wanted to talk about Nightingale, which I covered extensively back when it released into early access. We now have some more updates as of June 13th, so I really wanted to get into those and just keep everyone who's interested in the game updated on what's going on at the moment. So this video is going to be a read-through of the news. I'm going to have some Nightingale gameplay going on in the background as I read through, and then we'll talk a little bit about it all at the end. All right, let's get into that update. So, Realm Walkers. It's been a few months since our Nightingale City update, and we wanted to take a moment to step back and share where things stand, not just with Nightingale, but with some of the broader work going on at Inflexion. More than anything, we want to share how we're approaching the road ahead. So this is kind of big news because things were kind of left in limbo after we got the Nightingale City update, and we didn't really know what direction Inflexion was going to take. So this is great to finally get an update and see where the game is headed. They continue by saying, a lot of our recent work has focused on long-term planning for Inflexion. That of course includes Nightingale, but also other projects we're exploring as a studio. It's not always the most visible kind of work, but it's important, especially now given the realities of today's games industry. Taking the time to plan well means we can keep developing the games that we love. Kind of interesting to hear mentions of other games, not just a focus on Nightingale, which I have thoughts on that I will discuss at the end. Inflexion then goes on to reflect on Nightingale. They say, Nightingale has been at the center of many of those conversations. We care deeply about this game. It's ambitious and complex, and we've poured a lot into it. It hasn't always been easy, but we believe in its potential and in the community that's come with us this far. One of the biggest considerations has been our online architecture. From Nightingale's earliest days, we aim to create a shared world experience that let groups of players join together to adventure in the Feywilds. The back-end architecture we created delivered that vision, with players connecting realms to other realms with magical portals. The team did a great job, but at the same time, it meant constraints and limitations on our overall development speed and on gameplay elements that we've never resolved. Now, with more than a year of early access, it's clear that many players prefer to play solo or with a few close friends, further complicating what we do going forward. The other difficult truth is Nightingale's review status on Steam. It's nobody's job but ours to make a game worthy of good reviews, but we've been sitting at mixed for a while now, and that hurts because it reflects a gap between what we want the game to be and how it's being received. Steam reviews matter because they shape how new players see the game, and we know that we have work to do if we're going to improve them. This whole discussion is really interesting to me because there is always that disparity between people who do want to just play solo and not have to worry about other players, and then people who would prefer to play with a group of friends. I'm not necessarily sure people, as a whole, like interacting with random people, because often when you do interact with random people, you come across those bad eggs that will ruin an experience or rush through things and not let you play the game how you'd like to play. It's almost like in MMORPGs, how you have to find a guild and group up with said guild that shares the same values that you do as you play through a game, so that you don't get stuck with a group of people that just play differently, and so it makes a bad experience when you don't really vibe. I think maybe that's what the player base saw when Nightingale decided to have kind of like a lobby portal experience, like when you can team up and do like the end game watch content with other random people, but then they also found that those experiences were being ruined by teaming up with people that maybe don't share the same preference as far as gameplay goes and how you go about getting through the game. So anyway, I think this next part addresses kind of what they're doing to deal with that. They go on to say what we're doing next. To address the first challenge, we're nearly ready to release our dedicated server. This has been in the works for a while, and it will allow you to host a dedicated server the way you do with many other survival games, privately, reliably, and on your own terms, while still enjoying realm diving from realm to realm through portals you build or discover. We'll have more to say about the specifics on that soon. As for the Steam review score and the broader player experience, that's a bigger challenge. There's no single feature or fix that will solve it, but we're spending this summer focused on finding the right path forward, one grounded in what we've learned since Nightingale's launch. Thank you. If you've played Nightingale, left feedback, or even just kept an eye on what we're doing, thank you. We'll keep sharing more in the weeks ahead as we prepare for our next update, and we'll continue doing the work to make Nightingale a game worth your time and support. All right, so that's the news. Dedicated servers are going to be coming to Nightingale. So really, when it comes down to it, my opinion on all of this is that once they get the server architecture for dedicated servers and the state of how people will play together in Nightingale down, that they'll be able to iterate on gameplay easier because they will have all of that back-end architecture done so that they don't have to worry about it anymore, and they can just focus on improving what we already have and also adding more new content for us. I know it's probably been a huge challenge, and I mean, they said as much in the Dev Bytes interview there, that getting the architecture for the server side of things sorted out has really limited what they've been able to do in other aspects of the game. So as I just said, I'm really hoping once they figure this out and once they get dedicated servers where they want them to be, that they will be able to continue to iterate. And they said it'll be like Conan Exiles, where, you know, you can hop on a server with your friends and build up like a game world specific to your group of friends. And honestly, that's where some of the best experiences in survival games come from. At least they have for me. Outlaws of the Old West, Atlas, Ark, all of those revolved around having a community that you got to know on a server over the long term. So that's definitely a plus for Nightingale. As I said earlier, though, I don't know if it's going to bring people back to get into the game, but if they can couple those servers with some pretty deep and interesting systems related to being on a dedicated server with a big group of people, then who knows? I just think Inflexion has a lot of moving parts and puzzle pieces that they need to figure out how to fit together the right way. I did watch the Nightingale Dev Bytes where CEO Aaron Flynn and Neil Thompson talked through pretty much what I just read. And at the very end, they said at the end of the summer that they will have a much bigger like news drop for us regarding the game. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye peeled for that. I might jump back into Nightingale and do a few more videos and discussions about maybe why the game is seeing such a low player count and why reviews are so mixed. I stopped playing before the Nightingale City update came out, so I do want to still play through that and see how things end up once you do get to Nightingale City. But now on your end, if you did play Nightingale and you're no longer playing, what stopped you from playing? Did the game just change so much from when it originally released, or was it too rough around the edges? I'm really curious to get your guys' take on it. Will dedicated servers bring you back where you can spin up your own server and play with just your friends and build like community worlds that way? Is that something you all would look forward to? I really love seeing games succeed when you can tell that the studio really does care about them. And I do really think these developers, as they've said, they love the game, they care about it a lot. And I want to see Nightingale succeed. The idea behind it was really cool, and I think the vibes are great. The music, Puck, traveling through the realms. It was really a refreshing experience to begin with. I just wish they could nail down the player retention and get a little bit of that hype back that they had right before the game came out. I know I would personally like to see more end game progression, like long-term end game progression. Right now all it is you get to end game, you get your gear, you kill bosses, rinse and repeat over and over again. I would like to see more that you can do. Building is definitely one, but that's just one aspect of things. I have faith that Inflexion will keep iterating on things, and the fact that they have continued to be transparent and give us updates, even though it may not be as quickly or as big as we like, is still a plus in my book. The last Nightingale video I did cover some of the quality of life changes that we have gotten, so I do recommend you check that out. I might jump back into the game and kind of see how it is right now and maybe give more feedback and see if you all have more feedback you would give to Inflexion as well, because as I said, I really want to see Nightingale succeed. Inflexion seems to love it so much, and I had a great time. I had a blast those first few weeks of its early access release, and I'm really hoping it can come back into the spotlight again a little bit. So fingers crossed. I wish the game the best of luck. Let me know if you guys have any more questions about Nightingale. I will link that old video here.